Hello, so this is the introduction to my Christian Worldview Bible verse application in programming in C Sharp 3 CST 350 at GCU. Professor Brandon Bass, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. So the first thing we're going to see is the program.cs file. As you can see, the only main importance is these lines right here. We are pretty much using dependency injection to insert our services and our data layered DB context type Bible DAO object. From here, I'll go to my home controller, which is in charge of my home screen. So I have the home screen right here. This is what the home screen looks like, and this is all controlled by the home controller. So let's go back to the home controller, and we can see that we start off with a home controller constructor, which is initialized upon page startup, and we pass in the dependency injected service. From there, we also have the index method, which returns the main view which we are seeing on the page. From here, we'll jump into our home index view. As we can see, we have some beginning styles going on. Then we have a couple of variables just to keep track of something, just some random, just for debugging purposes. Then we have the actual search form. Let's go check out the search form now. So now I open up the developer tool so we can see the home index view. So we have a div which has our label, which has our actual input. Inside we have specific search keys. We have a drop down for choose a testament, and we can see that the options are New Testament, Old Testament, both testaments, and choose testament is just a default view. Then we have the button search Bible. Now before we undergo any searches, let's check out the Bible service. Well, actually not the Bible service, the search key model. So basically we have a testament like we saw on the page, and the input that we looked at has keywords. Now let's go conduct an actual search. Closing developer tools, we can go ahead and type some words. So let's type the word Jesus. Well, God. And let's just go ahead and search for it. You know what? Before we even search, let's try an empty search. And it says please enter search key. So you need to type in something to search it. So now we're typing God. And it could be uppercase, it could be lowercase. It really does not matter. But we'll keep it the way we had it. And we're going to press search Bible. Oh, it says please select the testament. We click OK, it highlights the testament for us. So once we click into it, we can see we have to pick one of these. So let's just go ahead and pick Old Testament. Actually, both testaments. So if I just zoom out a little bit, we can see there's a whole bunch of results that just popped up. 417 to be exact. So let's see if these are actually right. So the Bible verse. Let's jump back into the code and check out our Bible verse model. We looked at the search keys. Let's look at Bible verse. So obviously we have a primary key, which is just an ID, and then we have book, chapter, verse, text, and a constructor. Another thing is we'll go back to the home controller, and when we press that button search Bible, here's what ran. We basically return a result which we have our service method search Bible database with a search key. So obviously our search key was God. It was passed into here. And let's go ahead and jump into this reference. So now we are in the Bible service layer. As we can see, we're conducting the search Bible database. And we have a database object that was injected in program.cs. We use that object to search our database, which is pretty much our entering the data layer part of our application. So we'll jump into here, and then we get to our SQL search method. Obviously, we have a connection string to connect this to the SQL source, which is being conducted on our local DB. If we jump into our columns, actually no, we'll just view data. We can see that we have an entire database of this information already pre-stored. This is the database we will be accessing. Let's go back to the data layer method and let's run through it real quickly. So first we create a list of Bible verse objects. We figure out, okay, which testament was it? If it's New Testament, it needs a certain criteria. If it was Old Testament, it needs a certain criteria. And it's just based on the what number this book is on the Bible. Obviously, if it's the Old Testament, we want to look below 39. And if it's New Testament, we want to go 40 and up. What we do is we take the keywords and we filter out any text icons or anything other than letters. Then we start a SQL connection. We get our starting SQL statement, which is select from this table where. Then we go ahead and apply which testament we're searching from. Then we want to go ahead and finish either or statements with the and, so because we're adding another, which is the keyword search. So we're going to use the like operator. We're going to look for word in between all words, all text, or like, and we have the other words which were split into an array. We go ahead, open the connection, we read in from the database, match those items up, and if it is a match, we go ahead and we read it into the Bible verse list, which will return if all goes well and we don't hit an exception, we'll return the list. So let's go check out our app, make sure it's working right. So obviously we explained some of the random variables we were using and how they're used, and for example it gives us the total results. Then we have our actual table, and let's see if the words actually match up. So we search for God, we have God right here, we have God right here, and we have God right here. So I can safe to assume that there's God in all of them, but we'll make sure. God here, and God here. Now obviously we know in the beginning of the Bible it was all about God, so obviously let's check out the New Testament and see what's going on over there. Obviously we have 4,117 results, and watch it drop down to 1,239 results. And it starts from the very beginning, and we have God is with us. God, 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 and God. So let's look for other words. So we could look for something like stone. No. Okay, let's try clouds. And we'll search the New Testament. We get 8 results. And then shall appear the sign of the man in heaven, and etc. etc. We have clouds. We have more clouds in the second result. We have clouds here. We have clouds there. And you could do results with multiple. So let's say we do clouds and tree. So let's see if we obviously get tree. there's going to be a lot of trees. Let's see if we can find a lesser word. Old Testament. Okay, no. But you get the point. Obviously, we had looked at Job, and even though it has an AB at the end, we noticed Job. So just these kind of minor things we could work on more. We could actually highlight the text in there too, but it's just not being showcased here. That functionality was not added because it was not required. So one other thing I want to point out is if I open up this real quickly, if we check out, this is actually a partial view. So the div was created in the main home page, but it is refreshed via partial view, which we'll check out right now. We'll hop back into the code. And for this, we have to go into our actual, well, let's go move back out. So once we return the list, we go all the way back up to home controller. And so when we have our result, and what we do with that result is all the items is what we pass into the partial view, which is our display form. We'll quickly show the display form that we've been seeing. We have some styles to it. Then we have some variables. This variable is for matching the correct ID with the name in the Bible. And then we have our obviously our table HTML tags. So lastly, we'll go back to the home controller. And once the partial view has returned, that goes into our Ajax. I'll just cover over the Ajax real quick because that was an important part we kind of overlooked. So basically we start with our jQuery. Then we have a couple variables going on. We want to have access to our search key. We want to have access to the Testament dropdown. And we just want a side variable for is the search valid. Okay. So that means if a testament was chosen and the input was not blank. So this change is this does the red coloring. This here is the submit search button that we actually click. So what happens is it does the checks. It checks for the search key, then it checks for the actual testament if it was selected. If all this is okay, then we enter into this if statement, which is search valid. We give our search key, which is the same model we used earlier, but we're using it in the JavaScript version. We're just creating an object real quickly. Then we're passing this object with our Ajax call to the home search Bible home controller function, which we saw right here. We go back to site.js, we'll finish up with the data being passed into the function and then the response is returned as the data. Then we do the little animation transition you saw of the fade in. We highlight the actual display form element, which I'll show you real quickly if you check out right here. So it's actually not in the display form. Display form is a partial view being returned. We actually have to go back to the home index, which we have that div element I spoke about earlier that was hidden, and this is ID display form. We'll go back to site.js. We can see we waterfall out, search valid was true. This is reset so that we can continue to doing more searches so that it's not stuck on the validating whether the input is empty or the testament is not selected. So that pretty much wraps up the presentation for this. We have hard refresh and we end back at the main home screen. And thank you for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed this and I hope you guys got something out of it. Amen.